This is the part that we're going to be making, and uh, this video covers making this part in Viacad and then transferring it over here to Artcam Express to put the letters on and to uh, put the G code together in order to do the tool pass. I use Viacad. It to me is easier to make parts in, and then Artcam is to me a lot easier to do the lettering and that type of thing in. And of course, Artcam also will make the tool pass for me. Okay, I actually had to make this video like 10 different times because I had some problems with the software, the recording software, and then some issues with machining it not working and having to change some things. So some of it's kind of cut together, but hopefully it'll all make sense to you. But we're going to start out with a couple of circles coming right off of the origin. And you go up here to the top, and I'm going to change that to 12.5. And then I want another one to be 8.25. Okay, then we're going to come down over here on the left and get this push-pull tool. And I'm going to tip this up just a little bit. And then pull that. And we're going to change that to 1/2 inch. And we're going to click this and we're going to pull it to 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. Okay, now I want to round these corners off and put a fillet on the inside. So to put a fillet on the ends, well, hang on, okay. This is the blend edge tool, and it's a 1/2 inch radius, and I want that on the outside, and then I want to change that radius to 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to do that on this edge right here. Now I want a fillet down here that's also 1/8 of an inch, but if I click on that, what it's going to do is roll the edge down, and I actually want to fill that gap right there. So what I need to do is come over here and get this add solid tool, and it will add these solids together. So we want to add this one to this one, and it has done that. So now we're going to come back to our blend edge tool. It's still set at 1/8 of an inch. We're going to zoom in here a little bit, click right on that edge, and it has given us a fillet. So we've got our part made, and we've got the edges rounded over and a fillet here on the inside. Now this is going to be made out of aluminum, so I want to make it a little bit thinner. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right click on blend edge and drag over till I get this one, which is the shell feature. And I'm going to flip this up and click on the part, and that just lights up those vectors. And then it said select open faces. We select that right there, and then we get to choose between that one and this one. This is the one that we want right here. And let me tip that. Tip it very well for you. There we go. Okay. I think you can see that it's been hollowed out, and our wall thickness is 1/4 of an inch all the way throughout. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is get this exported into Artcam. So we're going to go to File, Export, and you want to make sure that this is set to STL, and this is set to binary. Hit OK. And then come over here, and this is going to be, well, I've done this several times, so there's a bunch in here. Top hollow one. Save that. Okay, now this is the mesh parameters comes up, and you can see the facets on our part back here are pretty coarse, so we want to make that a little bit finer. So on aspect ratio, you want to change that to 6.0. Go up here to normal deviation, change that to 5.0, and then come down here and hit update. Okay, now I think you can see the facets are much closer together, and then hit OK. And so now our part has been exported, and now we need to go to Artcam and import it. I'm in Artcam, and let me just stop for a second and say that I did this Artcam video before I hollowed out the part. So the steps that you just saw in Viacad, I originally did those, and I just did the top of the part. Then I went and found, I actually cut it out and realized it was so thick on the edges, being 3/4 of an inch, there was just way too much aluminum, and it was going to be really heavy. And so I went back and redid the Viacad part of the video and hollowed out the part. So it's got the top and then the hollowed out portion on the bottom. So next, I'm going to show you the Artcam portion of just doing the top of the model, and then we'll come back and we'll do the bottom part. All right, so we're in Artcam Express, and we're going to hit New Model. And the main thing we want to make sure of here is that our block is large enough to hold the part that we just made. So it was 12.5 inches in diameter, so 13 inches by 13 inches will hold that, and it was 0.75, so 0.75 will hold that. You want to make sure that your origin is in the center. You can click and move it to another corner, but you actually want it in the center there. We want to make sure this is set to inches, and then over here, make sure that your material Z0 is at the top of the block, and your machine depth is your machine bed is at the bottom. And then click OK. That's going to build our block. Okay. Now we're going to go up here to Relief and Import 3D Model. And we're going to pick Top 3. Hit Open. Okay. Now right here you can see, if you look right here on your X, Y, and Z axis, it says 0.75. If we were to just come down here and hit paste, our model would be sitting on top of our block. We want it down in our block. So you just change this to negative 0.75. So whatever this value is out here, if it's 4 inches or whatever, make it negative whatever over here, and that will drop it down into your block. Make sure your origin is set to the center, and then we're going to hit apply. And we're going to hit paste. And it looks like nothing happens, but we're done. You hit close. Still don't see anything here. Come up here to this tab and hit 3D view. And you can see our part is down inside of our block, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so let's go back to our 2D view. And we need to make some circles to guide our text. So we're going to hit the circle tool here and just get on here and stretch it out. Come over here to the right where you've got diameter, and we need to make this, let's see, I actually got to do a little quick math here. It's going to be 11.5 minus 0.3125. So we want this to be 11.188. So 11.188, and that's just we want to make sure that the text fits inside of, on the flat part of the part that we made, and you'll see that here in a minute. And you hit create. All right, and we're going to do that. I still got my circle tool. We're going to do that again, and come over here and tell it that we want that one to be 8.563. Hit enter, and it makes that part for us. Okay, so now we want to come over here and get our pointer, and we want that to be right in the middle. And then we're going to click our other one and put it right in the middle. Excuse me. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is put our text on there. So we come down here, bottom left-hand corner, left click that, drag over to text, and our text window is going to come up over here on the right, and we want Arial narrow, and normally the size is set to points, and I changed that to inches, and I want it to be actually 1 inch. So I come over here and I just click anywhere. Blue text. Okay, right there. All right, so we want it to say American transformer company, period. All right, go over here and get our pointer. And that's already highlighted. Hold down Shift and hold that and click the inner circle. And then we're going to go to the bottom left-hand corner, left click, drag over to wrap text around a curve, let go, and it has wrapped it around a curve. Now, I don't know how to get back into this. So as far as I know, you have to do all of your changing to this text right now. So you can grab the edge of it and you can just drag it to where you want it to be. I don't know what my computer's doing. It's like I've got something else from it that's taking up a lot of resources. Okay, let's go right. I've got the calculator running, that's about it. Okay. Alright, let's go up here and drag down a line to help us line that up just a little bit. Alright, now we want to raise this up. It's sitting right on there. We want it in between these two lines. So we're going to come over here to the right where it says specify text position, and that is off of that circle. So I'm going to make this, I know I want it to be 0.18 just from what I was doing before. And that puts it pretty much in the center. And I'm going to space it out just a little bit more to make it a little easier for me when I'm machining that. So I'll pull that. You know, that's another thing. I found once I move that line, I can't move it again until I get out of this tool. Okay. So there we go. All right. That's pretty much centered up. So now as I look at the text, some of it it'll keep it this in over. It'll keep it the correct height, top to bottom. Bring this over just a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so I think we're happy with that. We're going to click OK. And as far as I know, we need to be finished with the text right now because I'm not sure we can get back to it. Okay, so we hit OK. And the next thing we need to do is our toolpaths. So we're going to go up here to toolpath, and we're going to click. Actually, to me, the easiest way is to come over here to the right and click toolpath right there, and they all come up down here. And so we're going to pick our create machine relief toolpath. Click on that. It's going to do the whole relief, and our finishing bit is going to be, and my machine is not real rigid, so I have to use the aluminum settings on wood. So I'm going to use an 1/8 inch ball mill to finish it. And for roughing, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. I'm not changing any of the other settings. Still on. Relief. The finish pass. Alright, next we're going to do a V-bit carving. We're going to click that tool right there. Come over here and select our text. And so it's selected vectors. Our starting depth is at 0 because that's the top of our part. We're going to actually we'll come down here to the 1/2 inch 90 degree, select that, and hit refresh. Okay, vector intersections were found in the selection. Please identify the correct using the these two red spots right here. Okay, so we're going to come down to the very bottom, click remove vector loops, and then at the very bottom, I hope you can see that, fix problems. And then we'll roll back up and hit clear markers, which the red spots have gone away, and then we hit identify, and they're all gone. Okay, so we're going to close that tool, and then come back over here, and we're going to hit refresh and see if it'll do it now. Okay, and it's telling us that our maximum width is going to be 0.17 and our maximum depth is going to be 0.085. So we know that's probably about right. Okay, and so then we're going to come down here and we're going to call that our text and tell it to calculate now, and it's done, and we can close that tool. Alright, so we come over here to the right again, and we're going to expand these out. Okay, so the first toolpath we're going to run is our 1/4 inch roughing. So we're going to right click that and we're going to tell it to simulate that toolpath. We're going to go over here to, oh, it took us to the 3D view. Alright, and it has simulated that toolpath for us, and that's what it's going to look like. And then we'll go back to the 1/8 inch because that'll be the next one that we'll run. So we right click that and we hit simulate that toolpath, and it's going to run that for us. Alright, and then we'll put in our V-bit carving, simulate that toolpath, and there we go. I'm just going to spin that around a little bit. There we go. All right, and that's the completed part. Now you just go up here to toolpaths and you would go save your toolpath as, and here's your reliefs. Your relief toolpaths or your toolpaths. You can come down here to the left and say save toolpaths as separate files and append the toolpath details to the file names, and that will tell you that the end mill 1/4 inch, you use a 1/4 inch end mill with this toolpath and an 1/8 inch ball nose with this toolpath. It's really helpful to know what bit goes with what toolpath, so I always click that. And then you tell it where you want to save, and then you save it. That's got the first, the top part of this done. And so now let me show you how to hollow, to do the hollow in the bottom. So I've got a new model opened up in Artcam Express, a blank slate. This is 13 by 13 by 0.75, just like our first one. And so the first thing we're going to do is come up here to Relief and import our 3D model. Click the one we just did. Again, your origin is going to be in the center. Here you're going to do a negative 0.75, just like last time. Now the difference is you want to come to the Z-axis and put 180 degrees in there. 180 degrees in there. If we had not done that, when you hit apply and paste, you would see the top of the model, just like the first time. This is telling it that we want to see 180 degrees in the Z-axis, which is the bottom. So then hit apply, hit paste, close that out, and then when we go to the 3D view, you can see that's the hollow out portion of the model. Okay, so if you noticed in the last part of the video doing the top of this, it machined all the way across, machined the corners and everything. And I realized that I could restrict down the amount of machining that I'm actually going to do. So let me show you how I did that. So you go to the 2D view and pick the circle, bring that out. And we want this to be, our model is 12.5 inches in diameter, so we're going to do this 12.5 inches. Hit create. We can now close that. We just want to make sure that that is in the center. And so the next thing we're going to do is make our toolpath. So we're going to click toolpaths over here, and then we're going to come over here and click our relief toolpath. Now our vector is selected, so we're going to go up here and change this from whole relief to just the selected vectors, and we want to be inside that vector. So it's only going to machine what's inside of this vector. And our finish option is we're going to select a tool. This is the hollow underneath, so I'm not real concerned with the finish, so I'm going to do a 1/4 inch ball nose. Select that. It's not going very deep, so I don't need a roughing tool. And we can just hit hollow relief there and calculate that out. All right, so now let's pull this out and let's simulate that toolpath. Okay, and you can see that that's got our hollow done. So let me just tell you a little bit about how I actually machined this. So I took a piece of 13 by 13 MDF and I put a screw in each one of these corners and screwed it down. Before I did that, I drilled a hole right in the middle of the part that was just fit a finish nail, and I also drilled a hole in the table of the CNC machine that just fit that finish nail. So I took my blank, put the finish nail in it, and then put it in the hole in the CNC machine, and then I screwed it down, took the nail out, and then I machined this just like you see it. All right, then I took the screws out, flipped the part over, used the finish nail to key it right back into the same hole in the table of the CNC machine, put my 4 screws back into the corners, and then I machined the top part of it. That way I made sure that my hollow was exactly in the middle of my finished part. Okay, so I hope this video wasn't too confusing for you. Hopefully it'll help me remember if I do something like this again. Thank you for watching.